Hey everyone, welcome back to Mind, Body, and Beyond. Today we'll be talking about the specific issues that have shaped education today. I'm your host, Annabelle, and today we're going to talk about the topic of should schools ban phones? My thoughts, yes, absolutely. What do you guys think?
I think phones are really useful for safety. Like if something happens at school, you have to call your parents or something. I think that's important to have phones in that case.
I agree. I think that phones can be really useful
Agree.
and useful tools in the classroom.
I disagree. I think phones shouldn't be allowed at school because a lot of students uses them as distractions or not for school purposes.
I kind of agree with Micah and Cody at the same time. I think while phones can be distractions, we also need them for safety reasons at the same time. So it's kind of a 50-50.
I do agree with that. I agree that they give us the ability to connect with the world and entertain us and even connect with peers as well as for our safety. But in the classroom, they've become one of the most distracting items for focusing. In any situation, students are more focused on what's happening on the screen than what the teacher is actually talking about in front of the classroom. There have been many studies shown that a smartphone can lower people's focus. And one of those examples is that there was a study done in London that when they took away the phones, that the test scores were becoming higher. Even the students that were struggling in the classroom had increased scores. Do you guys believe that if your phones were taken out of the classroom, your scores would be better?
I think so because a lot of the distraction that comes from in learning is from my phone. Every time I'm a little bored or something, I just resort to pulling my phone out. So I think that getting rid of that distraction entirely would make me focus more, for sure.
Yep.
I completely agree with Cody. I feel like my phone's a major distraction sometimes. Although with music, I feel like I'm able to focus a little bit better. I don't know if that's the same goes for you guys, but for me, that's definitely how it is.
I agree. The same goes for me with music. I think that really helps me focus in the classroom. But I can't agree with the fact that it is a large distraction and probably the top cause for my procrastination during school.
Oh yeah, music does help in ways, but also there's more to a phone than just music, and those parts of phone uses just could distract you even more.
I also believe that this doesn't only affect the academic process, side of it, but also affects the kids' mental health and gives the opportunity for cyberbullying. Some students struggle with comparing themselves and stuff like that, and as well as social media never stops, so notifications never end, and some students could just be trying to figure out a math problem, and instead the Snapchat notifications just continue to go off. But to be completely clear, I'm not saying we should get rid of every smartphone in existence. I can understand that smartphones can be used in different ways for educational purposes, but I do also understand that smartphones in the classroom can be needed in case of an emergency. But I feel like there's a way that we can find an alternative to make sure that students have the ability to contact someone if there is an emergency, but also keep it from being such a big distraction in the classroom. What do you guys think the alternative could be?
I think having smartphones but restricting the access to what you can do on the smartphones could be a good option, or banning smartphones entirely and using a whole different device
So
that
like
has
a
some
specific
educational.
smartphone. Wait, sorry. So like a
Yes.
specific smartphone for school, like a school phone.
Yeah, possibly
So
like
that could
that.
work. Yeah. I was about to say the same thing with implementing phones into educational purposes, for educational purposes, maybe.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I think that banning phones in classrooms may seem super excessive, but I do feel like it'll give the chance to let the students get away from the outside world and focus on what's important in that moment. But I just want to say thank you guys for listening to Mind, Body, and Beyond. If you enjoyed today's episode, please tune in to our next episode about how soccer has great benefits to your physical health.